This SAT problem is asking us to find the positive solution to the given equation. So the equation here is a fraction that has the variable x in the denominator set equal to x. Now the fact that you have multiple x's within this equation and the phrasing of the question, what is the positive solution, kind of implies that this equation likely has more than one solution. So how can you find what those solutions are and then identify which the positive solution is? I'm going to get all of the x's onto the same side of the equation by multiplying both sides by x plus 6. That opens up for the opportunity to distribute the x that's already on the right side of the equation into that set of parentheses, giving me x squared plus 6x. Now this equation you'd hopefully recognize as a quadratic equation. You've got a few different ways you can solve a quadratic equation. You can solve it with the quadratic formula. That's not on the SAT reference sheet, so you would have to have that memorized. You can solve it with a graph, so you could graph this on your calculator and look for where the graph is equal to 0. Or the route that I'm going to take, and this doesn't always work, but most of the time on the SAT it will, I'm going to solve by factoring. So in order to solve by factoring, I do need my equation to equal 0, so I subtract 55 from both sides as my first step, and then I'm going to factor the right side of this equation. There is no greatest common factor shared by all three of these terms. There are three terms present, so I'm going to try to factor this by unfoiling. I would need first times first to give me the first piece in my quadratic expression. I would need last times last to give me the last piece in my quadratic expression. Now what tells you whether or not you've factored correctly is when you check the outer multiplication, negative 5x in this case, and the inner multiplication, plus 11x. Does that give you the piece that's in the middle? So first times first gives you the first piece, last times last gives you the last piece. The O and the I from FOIL combine to give you that middle piece. We've got this factored correctly. I guess I'd be a little worried about someone saying, hey, plus 11, positive solution, my positive solution's plus 11. You do not have the solutions yet once you have this factored. Once you have a multiplication problem that has this answer of 0, you have to set each factor of that multiplication problem equal to 0 and solve those simpler equations. When x plus 11 equals 0, the solution's actually negative 11. When you set the second factor equal to 0, add 5 to both sides, your solution's actually 5. Our positive solution to this equation is positive 5.